There are days that slip by unnoticed, quiet, uneventful, and ordinary. And then, there are days that leave a mark. A day when time slows down, when everything that could go wrong does. That was my day. It didn't just test my patience. It unraveled my confidence, shook my certainty, and cracked open a part of me I didn't know needed healing. But in that chaos, in the heartbreak, the silence, the stillness afterward, something unexpected began to grow. And that changed everything. It started like any other day. The kind of morning that fools you into thinking you're in control. The sun was pouring golden light across my desk. My coffee was warm, and for once, my to-do list felt conquerable. I had a plan, a full day mapped out with precision, a career-defining presentation at 10, a long-awaited call with someone important at noon, and maybe, just maybe, a moment to breathe by the evening. I even remember looking in the mirror that morning, fixing my hair and thinking, "You've got this. Today's yours." Everything felt aligned, until it didn't. You see, the irony about life is, it rarely asks for permission before unraveling. And what I didn't know then, as I stepped outside my front door, was that this day wasn't going to follow my plan. Not even close. This day had its agenda. It would test me in ways I never saw coming, strip away every layer of confidence I had, and eventually rebuild me with something stronger. But before we get there, let me take you to the moment it all began to spiral. I should have known the universe had different plans when I missed the bus. Not by a minute or two. I saw it pull away as I sprinted down the street, coffee in one hand, hope in the other, and nothing but disbelief on my face. No problem, I told myself. I'll just grab a ride share. I'll make it. I always do. Spoiler alert. I didn't. Traffic that morning wasn't traffic. It was a parking lot. Every red light felt like a cosmic warning sign. Every passing second echoed like a countdown in my head. And then, as if the universe wanted to add a little humor to the madness, my phone buzzed. They moved the meeting forward by 30 minutes. I stayed at the screen, heart racing, throat tight. Still 15 minutes away. Still stuck in a car that wasn't moving. When I finally reached the building, I bolted through the lobby like a storm. Elevator, too slow. I took the stairs, two at a time, rehearsing my opening lines in my head, fixing my shirt, trying to fix myself. But when I arrived, breathless and shaking, I was met with silence, an empty boardroom, a cold cup of coffee left untouched, and a message on the screen. "Thanks everyone. Great discussion. Let's follow up via email." Just like that, my big opportunity evaporated, not with a bang, but with a quiet, blinking cursor on a closed laptop. And yet, that wasn't the worst of it. I returned to my desk, dazed, only to find 3 unread emails, each carrying bad news. One project was rejected, one payment delayed, and the third, a client, one I'd worked with for months, decided to pull out, no explanation. I sat there, frozen. The air around me felt thick. My throat closed. It wasn't just one thing going wrong. It was everything. And when the final straw came, a text from someone I trusted that read, "We need to talk." I couldn't hold it anymore. I left the office, walked straight to the restroom, locked the door, and cried, not just for that day, not just for the failures, but for everything I'd been carrying for months. Unseen, unspoken, unreleased. I had hit a wall, and I had no choice but to face what was on the other side. I don't even know how long I stood there, leaning over the sink, watching the tears fall, quiet, heavy, unstoppable. It wasn't just about the missed meeting, or the traffic, or the lost client. It was about everything I'd been suppressing. The pressure to always smile, to always deliver, to pretend like I had it all figured out. But the truth was, I didn't. And for the first time in a long time, I allowed myself to admit it. I was exhausted, not just physically, but emotionally. I had been running on autopilot, pushing through deadlines, expectations, perfectionism, never pausing long enough to ask, how am I really doing? I had been showing up for everyone, except for myself. And in that tiny bathroom, with fluorescent lights flickering overhead, and a paper towel clenched in my hand, I broke. But something strange happened in that moment. As I let the sadness wash over me, I didn't feel weak. I felt real. I wasn't pretending anymore, not performing, not pleasing, just being messy, overwhelmed, human. Sometimes, life is a way of forcing you to pause, to break you down, not to destroy you, but to finally permit you to be honest. And in that honesty, there was the tiniest spark, a whisper in my mind that said, "This isn't the end. This is the opening." That moment, though drenched in sadness, it was the beginning of something powerful, the beginning of me waking up. I walked out of that bathroom not fixed, but lighter, not because things had improved, but because I had stopped pretending. And something changes when you let go of the act. The pressure fades, the noise quiets, and in that silence, you can finally hear yourself. I found myself walking aimlessly through the park. No destination, no goal, just breathing. For the first time that day, I wasn't rushing or fixing or proving. I was just existing. It was in that stillness, in the pause after the storm, that clarity began to find me. I started asking myself questions I had avoided for far too long. What am I really chasing? Whose voice am I trying to please? Why do I measure my worth by how productive I am? And slowly, I began to realize, maybe this terrible day wasn't a punishment. Maybe it was a mirror, one that showed me how deeply I needed to reset, to reprioritize, to reconnect with who I was before the pressure buried me. That day didn't give me answers. It gave me space, and space is where healing starts. No big epiphany, no magical solution, just the quiet knowing. I didn't need to have everything figured out. I just needed to begin again, this time, for me, and that was the first step out of the breakdown, into a breakthrough. In the days that followed, I kept thinking back to that awful, chaotic, gut-wrenching day. And you know what surprised me the most? I wasn't ashamed of it. I didn't wish it away. In fact, I was grateful, because sometimes life doesn't whisper, it shouts. And when you ignore the whispers long enough, the breakdown becomes your only way through. That day taught me more than any good day ever could. Here's what I learned. You don't have to be okay all the time. Strength isn't found in pretending. It's in allowing yourself to feel fully. The good, the bad, the breaking. Failure isn't the end. It's feedback. That missed meeting, it reminded me to stop tying my worth to one opportunity. That client who left, it pushed me to build more resilient, honest relationships, starting with myself. Your body always knows before your mind catches up. That stress, the headaches, the exhaustion, they weren't random. They were warning signs I kept silencing. Slowing down is not weakness, it's wisdom. Rest is not a reward for exhaustion. It's a right. And if you don't take time to pause, life will make you. There's power in the pause. That day stopped me in my tracks. And in doing so, it gave me back my perspective, my balance, and strangely, my peace. So no, this story isn't about how I conquered the world after a bad day. It's about how a single terrible day taught me to come home to myself. It's funny, isn't it? How one bad day, one completely derailed, messy, overwhelming day, can lead you back to everything that truly matters. I started that day thinking I had lost control. And in a way, I had. But sometimes, losing control is how we find clarity, because it forced me to see what I'd been ignoring. It cracked open the version of me that was burning out in silence. And in those broken pieces, I found something real. I found slowness. I found presence. I found the version of me who doesn't chase perfection, but honors progress. And now, when things start to spiral again, because they still do, I don't fight the storm. I sit with it. I ask it what it's trying to teach me. And I remind myself, I've survived before. I'll grow again. I no longer fear the hard days, because I know they carry wisdom I couldn't hear when things were perfect. So if you're watching this right now, and you're having one of those days, the ones that feel like they are falling apart, please remember, sometimes things break, so you can finally rebuild them with intention. Sometimes you fall behind, just so life can gently remind you to slow down and return to yourself. The day everything went wrong was the day everything truly began. And that was the day that taught me everything. If this story resonated with you, or if you've ever faced a day that felt like it broke you, please share your experience in the comments below. I'd love to hear your story, because sometimes sharing helps us heal together. Don't forget to like this video if it helped you in any way, and subscribe for more honest stories and reflections like this one. Remember, you're not alone in this journey. We're all figuring it out, one day at a time. Thank you for watching, and take care of yourself.